It's Sum Kikwe by Ralph Waldo Emerson, and it goes, "Wilt thou seal up the avenues of ill, pay every debt as if God wrote the bill." Initially when I read the poem, I thought sort of like the Last Judgment, and it came so I just thought of various Last Judgment Day interpretation or depictions from historical paintings, and this is one of the most famous ones by Vita de Giotto, and it's in a chapel in Italy, and the general idea, obviously, you have Christ in the heavens at the center, deciding who will go to heaven and whom to hell. And that's just initially what I thought of. And then, so the first line, or the second line, the first part, is pay every debt. And this probably has both a figurative and a literal meaning. Literal, I think, is what people probably think of when they think of debt. Initially, they think of material, monetary debt, but there's more allegorical, the metaphorical debt. And because there's a biblical reference to God, it could suggest sins. And the second half of the second line is as if God wrote the bill. So in a way, this is kind of like over time, debt compiles, and if people fail to address it, pay it off. In the long run, it's going to be disadvantageous to whomever hasn't addressed their debt. And ultimately, you're going to be faced with it. If it's the allegorical, metaphorical debt, your sin, Judgment Day, it could result in eternal damnation, which in the long run is a pretty bad consequence. And then the sort of more literal is monetary debt. Pay it off. You lose your ability to finance your way of life. And then the title, Suum Cuique, is Latin. It's a common Latin idiom for to each his own. Emerson was sort of a champion of what's called individualism and emphasis of the individual, and it's sort of the antithesis, the opposite of collectivism. So it kind of stresses the individual possesses and has his own personal responsibility to address his debt, whatever it may be. But Emerson was also a champion of, I can't remember how it's pronounced, hold on.
Transcendentalism.
Yeah. And this is the idea, sort of, that people and nature are inherently good. So this is kind of a little contradictory, because it would suggest that people wouldn't rack up debt and wouldn't compile it, because that's not a good thing to do.
To be responsible.
Yeah, it's not being responsible, exactly. So, well, I'll get to the next slide. So, this sort of, the poem kind of has a skeptical tone to it, because the first line is a question. Wilt thou seal up the avenues of ill? It's an interrogative sentence, and it kind of suggests that Emerson's questioning, aren't you people going to address your debt? And he was sort of, this movement of people who were sort of, not angry with the status quo of his time, but we sort of wanted a counter-revolution for society. It's also kind of advisory, because we have an imperative telling people to do this. And then as if God wrote the bill, it's sort of threatening, because it's kind of, if you God's judgment on you is the worst possible payment for your debt. So, the poem kind of emphasizes a concern with society and other people's unwillingness to address their responsibilities, but also telling people, well, you need to do this. It advises the poem